not only that, in all honesty, I think that we as Americans should be way angrier or upset than we are about the way things are being handled in our country right now. Howdy, internet friends. It has been a while. My fault, my bad. Can't really take that back now. Life has been throwing me through the ringer, essentially. You know, like how, you know, when you play Sonic and he be running through the rings, like that's like what I've been doing, but life like threw me through. Like I'm not running like Sonic, like I'm being thrown, you know what I mean? So bouncing off the walls and stuff. Anyway, but I wanted to come on and do a little DakoDiary and talk, because I've tried to like talk about this on Twitter, did a little thread. The thread got to be like 6 tweets. I was like, all right, that's enough. You can only do so much on Instagram. And I was like, I have a YouTube. I can talk about whatever I want to on my YouTube. So I want to talk about Hurricane Helene, subsequently the Biolabs fire, and also Hurricane Milton, which just happened yesterday. I have a lot of thoughts. I typically have a lot to say. I typically never say it, but I, like I said, have a YouTube channel, and why not? You know what I mean? I've, first of all, wanted to talk about it because I do live in Augusta, so I am in one of the areas that was pretty hard hit, and a lot, I've been thinking about it a lot, because from the day that it happened until literally today, there are still people with no power, no internet, etc. I've just been sort of in awe of how things are going. And I want to say also that my heart goes out to like the people in Asheville, North Carolina, because that is, I never would have expected any type of devastation like that in the mountains. You don't ever expect a hurricane in the mountains. So my heart goes out to them. I saw videos a couple of days after, you know, we were able to leave, and like houses washing down the mountain, people losing their whole, like their cars, their family possessions, you know, like I said, houses washing down the mountain. That is crazy stuff. So my heart goes out to them. There are also other places that are not very mentioned in this tragedy that happened, but places like, you know, Nashville, Georgia, and stuff like that. There are places in South Carolina that saw a lot of devastation as well, and like Tennessee. So my heart goes out to those people as well, and a lot of the people who aren't getting the attention, I guess, that I feel that this type of thing deserves, because this is a pretty big deal. And I feel like that specifically is what led me to want to make a video. I think I was very shocked that it seemed like there was just no news coming out of anywhere about anything happening. Like, I know for, you know, when it happened to us, of course we wouldn't be getting, you know, immediate news about everything, because I guess power lines are down, so, you know, whatever. We weren't getting internet. Essentially, we were in a dead zone for like a while. I couldn't get texts from other iPhones until I left Augusta. The point of the video, like I said, has been the aftermath. I think has been just extremely concerning. But yeah, and I feel like even if I wasn't affected by this, I would still kind of be like, you know, about the response that I'm seeing. But it seemed like for a very long time, nobody really knew what happened anywhere. And I feel like that's concerning. When big stuff like that happens, I know that it had just happened, but I feel like somewhere in the news it should exist, you know what I mean? Like, there people at the very least in the same state should know what happened. And I feel like it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't made like big news or anything, because okay, the hurricane happened on the 27th. The Biolabs fire happened on the 29th. There were people from Conyers evacuating Conyers to Augusta. You know, it's only been 2 days. By this point, there's still like many places without power and internet. And so they're evacuating into a stay-at-home order? Why are they even evacuating here if the news is saying Augusta was hit by a hurricane 2 days ago? Was the news saying that? I don't know, because I was in Augusta. But obviously not if you have people trying to evacuate to here. And after the hurricane happened, we weren't really getting, you know, any news. We had like a solar powered radio that you can get, you know, radio, like actual radio waves, but there really wasn't even any news being announced on that. It was like a recurring message that a hurricane had essentially happened, I believe. I wish I had recorded it. I forgot. I wasn't really thinking about doing a video, so, but there wasn't really much news. I feel like we only found out there was even a curfew because of Ring Neighbors, and I wanted to bring that up. Ring Neighbors, we pretty much got all of our news from there. Like, found out about, you know, the FEMA website stuff from there and all of that stuff like that. And I was like, where are our city officials? Where is the government? You know what I mean? And not only that, but I want to talk about the Biolabs fire too, because, okay, you have these people evacuating to Augusta. We all in a bad predicament right now. But also, I feel like the government's response to the Biolabs fire has been pretty abysmal as well. No PPE, no like real instructions as to what these people should be doing. Just turn off your AC and, you know, try to stay inside, but people still have to go to work. But stay home on the weekends because the chemicals are dangerous. So does the chemicals have a job too when they off when I go to work or something? Like what's going on? You know what I mean? I feel like that's very unfair to people in Atlanta, and it's also extremely concerning because it was a chemical fire. Huge fire. It was burning for multiple days. Not only that, but apparently the Rockdale soil and Rockdale County Soil and Water Supervisor. The Rockdale County Water and Soil Supervisor apparently passed away after giving a briefing on the plume at the Georgia State Capitol, which is concerning. I'm like, this stuff is concerning. So I'm like, what's going on? Where's our government? What are we doing? Why aren't people more concerned? I feel like I'm going crazy because I feel like all of this stuff should have been a hey, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? But I feel like the response has just been kind of, well, damn, you know, and I don't want my response. Hello, I'm concerned. So, you know, I'm concerned. I feel like people in Atlanta are also concerned. I feel like the government should be saying a little bit more to people right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that there are things just happening back to back to back, but we are also being robbed. So what's going on? I understand right after in Augusta there was no response because, I mean, we weren't supposed to get hit. Like I said, we woke up at like 4 a.m. and it was train sounds outside. And it's like, I feel like the next day, you know, I guess it's also understandable that there was no like real response because, I mean, we weren't supposed to get hit. Like I already said like 3 times already. And so, but then after that, it still felt like there was no response, and it still felt like we were getting all of our news from Ring Neighbors instead of like government officials or something like that. I don't know. And so it's pretty much been, you know, community outreach as well. I've seen with like people getting help, like small businesses, once they get power, they were opening their doors and letting people like just sit in the AC or like charge their phones and use the internet and stuff like that. But, you know, it shouldn't just be up to the people. Like, yes, a lot of it's going to be community response once we get to these types of situations, but it shouldn't just be up to the people, I think, to be getting this stuff done, because that's what we're putting our government officials in office for. And it feels like we're not hearing from them. I think that's my frustration. It feels like we're not hearing anything about anything from them, and when we do, it's very minimal and basic. It's not really anything. So I wanted to mention, during the time where our government officials weren't really saying anything to us, it gave like plenty of room and space for misinformation to start spreading, that is extremely concerning to me. Because even now, like even right now, I have no idea what is true and what isn't, the stuff that I was seeing coming out of like other places, Asheville and stuff like that. So I'm like, of course if I'm not even anywhere that has been affected, how can I believe anything coming out of anywhere when you have some people saying this and some people saying this? You had people in, Asheville saying stuff like FEMA isn't helping us, there's nobody here, blah, 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 blah. You also have people saying like, oh, the government is stopping civilians from helping other civilians, which sounds crazy. And it's like, I can't even verify whether that's true or not, because it's like sometimes it's a MAGA account, tweeting it. Sometimes it's like a faceless account tweeting it. And it's like, I can't just believe stuff without verification anymore, especially not on Elon's Twitter. I'm sorry. So, and it just sucks that people take that time to spread information. But not only that, we have like actual government representatives saying things like Kamala Harris isn't releasing FEMA money to our, county, and we need it, and stuff like that. But you can go online and see that this same Republican representative voted against extra FEMA funding. So it's like they're taking, like, actual government officials are taking this time to pit this as Democrats aren't helping us because we're Republicans and stuff like that. When it's like, people are dying. I don't give a damn or a heck who is a Republican or who is a Democrat. The hurricane is not going to stop at my door and be like, oh, you a Democrat. You know what? Let me back up a little bit. That is not going to happen. I feel like if you use time of like climate disaster and extreme change to do stuff like that, there's something wrong with you. This is not the time. 100% not the time. And so I feel like if there was proper government response, there wouldn't be time for this sort of misinformation to spread. But not only that, we have our government spreading this misinformation. What is happening? And why are we like allowing this? Why aren't people more angry that there was a biolab fire and nobody's saying like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Nobody's getting any PPE, nobody's getting any help, I'm like, I guess, people are just maybe too in shock, but I think that we should be more concerned. So we've had Hurricane Helene, the Biolabs fire, and now Hurricane Milton. Back to back climate disasters in general. And I feel like if this is how the government is going to be handling things, extremely minimal to none, we are in trouble. And if this is how it's going to be, like, we're not going to have time between these storms and between these things that we can no longer predict to recover if we can't even predict them anymore. You know what I mean? So I think that if this is an indication of like where America is going, freak climate accidents, and very minimal government response, I think that we as Americans should be extremely concerned. Not only that, in all honesty, I think that we as Americans should be way angrier or upset than we are about the way things are being handled in our country right now. And this is going on, like, going beyond Republican and Democrat. Nobody is living well. And I think that a lot of my anger is towards our government officials for their response specifically, especially like coming to Augusta and being like, and we are offering $750 in like emergency, relief funds, which a lot of people have been denied from what I know. And I think that I'm just angry because over the year we see like they spend so much on like the cop budget and the military and sending to overseas, but then when it comes to things happening here, it's constantly, we don't got it. How? I don't understand. you know, and it's not really a matter of if we continue to see climate disaster, we will, because of the war in Gaza and the amount of CO2 that the weapons are producing in the atmosphere. I literally read an article in January about how badly it's exacerbating the climate disaster, and now it's been over a year. It's not if, it's when these things keep happening, because they're not stopping. Nobody's stopping anything. Nothing is happening. And that's another, you know, point of anger, point of frustration, if you will. And so I'm like, since these things are happening, like, and nobody's stopping it, these things are not happening in a vacuum. These things are going to continue happening, and we have to change something. We have to do something. Like, even now online, I see a lot of people saying, oh, you should have evacuated. How? We had no warning. We did not know. We did not know, my friend. So, you know, it's going to continue being climate disasters that we're not going to be able to predict and stuff like that. And we have to come together as people and not be like, I told you so, you should have did this, you should have did that. It's going to have to be, we have to come together, because obviously we are not being taken care of. If you're having a mandatory evacuation, why aren't you giving mandatory, I don't know, like vouchers for hotels and stuff like that? Why are you having to partner with Uber to get people to shelters? You know what I mean? It's things like that that the government should be doing more towards. We as people are going to have to step up and help one another instead. And I don't want it to seem like I'm pushing an agenda. I just want to be honest. If these are the types of things that are going to continue happening, we need to look at the climate and how it's changing and how things continue to happen and be extremely honest. I think we need to eliminate the could've, should've, would've of you should have did this, you could have did this, because we're not going to be able to predict the things that are going to be happening from now on. I think that we need to actually hold our government accountable. I think that more things need to be put in place. I think that we need to be working on infrastructure. I think a lot of things need to change, and I think a lot of people need to like wake up, pay attention to these things. And not only that, but pay attention to the people that are in power and what they're actually doing with the power that they have right now. We are under, like, this is what is happening under Democratic lead right now. You know what I mean? Something has to change regardless of whether we're under Republican lead or Democrat lead. We can't live like this, point blank, period. So yeah, I went off on a tangent and I had to clean it up. But that's essentially what I'm getting at. My concern is that we will not come together in the end, and we will divide so much that nothing works for anybody. Nobody gets help. Nothing happens because somebody is on this side and somebody is on this side, but you also on this side. Doesn't matter. We're all people, man. Like, we really need to get it together. It's concerning. It's a bit much, and I'm desperately hoping that we as people come together to change this. Okay, it's been a couple of days since I filmed the video, and I wanted to come back on and say a couple of things. First of all, I almost didn't upload it because I felt like I was complaining, but I do think it's very important because it's like October 17th at this point, and there are still people without power and internet. And there's like, it's telling people that some people won't get their internet back for 2 months, and I know that it's like a new situation and stuff like that, but I feel like if that's a situation that's going to be happening for people, like, what are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? My little sister had been out of school since September 27th and went back on the 16th, so yesterday. But the day before, we'd received a call that said that the buses had checked the bus routes to make sure that they could pick up all the kids, but some of them were still blocked. So they were encouraging parents to bring their children to school. If the bus can't get into the neighborhood, how are they gonna get out? You know what I mean? And also, not only that, but we're sending kids back to school. People still don't have internet. We are increasingly reliant on internet for, you know, kids' homework nowadays. So it's like, what are those kids gonna do? Are they just gonna fall behind? You know what I mean? Not only that, but there's still people who haven't been approved for FEMA. who have been denied for FEMA still. There are still people like looking for FEMA representatives so they can get help with their applications. And then not only that, but people are applying for these like loans and help because, you know, there are people who still to this day do not have power, had power off for like 10, you know, days plus. So they don't have any food. All the food in their fridge obviously went bad. And they're not getting approved for any loans, for any, you know, assistance. And they're saying now that they can't give us any assistance because they've run out of money. And Congress will not vote to help people. They're gonna wait. So we're not important enough to make the decision now. They gotta wait. I feel like we need to pay attention to how it feels like things are becoming so, it's becoming like everything is just too political. Everything is political. They've made everything political. Like, it's feeling like the onus for everything is being placed upon the people when it's like we put the government in place to help us. It's just like with COVID, how they were essentially like, it's a cold. No, it's not. Wear a mask. You don't gotta wear a mask. You know what I mean? Like, so people are just deciding what to do, deciding whether it's real or not. You know what I mean? We so it's like, now it's like we have to figure out how to get kids to school when we can't even get out the neighborhoods because school is resumed and stuff like that. So I'm just, you know, I want to reiterate that we should be asking our government what they're doing. What more can they do? I feel like we should be paying attention to what is and isn't happening because I feel like this isn't normal. It's very concerning. I feel like we should be concerned. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say, like, you know, I mean everything that I said in the video. Essentially, we should be paying attention because we put the government in place to help us. They are not helping us. A lot of things are seeming to be going on that we will, in the future, if this continues, need help with. And we can't continue the way we're continuing now. So yes, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's the end of the video because I'm running out of storage on my phone. So, yes, be yourself, make good choices, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it's like Skyrim or Final Fantasy and not be talking again. This is so nerve-wracking. I don't even know how to finish it. Bye.